And we're here to celebrate, of course, the greatest football player in Morristown history. But there's a whole lot you guys don't know. He might have been the greatest athlete in the state of New Jersey, and I'm going to tell you why. Of course, it started on the football field with Coach George Masters, Richard Loring, in which we all had the opportunity to play for them also. They weren't just our coaches, they were our friends. You could talk to them about anything, anytime. I used to hear the stories Mr. Masters, Mr. Loring used to tell me about Uncle Dave. Oh, hell, let me tell you, Robbie. That uncle of yours, you think was good at football, you shouldn't even play basketball. I said, okay, Mr. Masters, was he really that good? Oh, he could dunk that ball with the best of them. So I always had to live up to that reputation, like, he was that good, huh? You know what I mean? So, okay, when his high school football career was over, he was voted second team All-State. Okay? Now, we're going to go to basketball, which might have been his best sport. On the basketball court, he was a beast on the board and could jump out of the building. And his coach was Coach Mosca. Okay? He said, and his team wasn't allowed to dunk, but his brother, Byron, said, Dave, dunk the ball. Now, he knew he could get in trouble if he did this. So what happened was he stole the ball half court, went down and threw a two-hand slam dunk. Bumped the roof down. The crowd cheered as he made his way to the sidelines. Coach Mosca was waiting for him. And he said, son, don't you ever do that again. But it wasn't so much Pete Mosca, they wanted him to dunk, it was the higher ups. So he had to protect his buddy. Okay? So, okay, the next page we're going to talk about Dave was also the starting center on that basketball team. Okay? They went undefeated 2 straight years, won back-to-back state championships. Okay? And this is the best part I like. I don't know if it was the first championship or the second one, but after they won that state championship, his high school sweetheart kissed for the first time. And she told him, I'm glad you played basketball because I don't date football players. So I'm thinking, like, it was after the first one, boy, she had a rude awakening coming in the next fall, though. Okay. And at the season end, Dave was voted first team All-State in basketball. It's only going to get better, because it's only springtime now. Now it's time for Dave to play baseball. And track at the same time. Okay? All right, here we go. So when they didn't have a baseball game, he would attend a track meet. And he was so good that the next year, they made sure they scheduled the track meets that they didn't have a baseball game. Okay? So with that, he was able to get 4 varsity letters. Okay? And speaking to some people, hearing some stories, they said Dave was a gold glove outfielder. Okay? He batted over 400 and hit with power. He batted third, sometimes fourth in the lineup. And his coach was Coach Grover Worthing. Let's not forget about Mr. Worthing. And then at season's end in baseball, he was All-State again. First team All-State in baseball. What can't this man do? Okay. Now, after his high school sports career was over, he was voted into the New Jersey Sports Hall of Fame in high school. Okay. At Penn State, earning a scholarship. I might repeat some of the things John said, but I already had it written down. I'm not going to change it. Earning a scholarship at Penn State, he was head coached by Rip Engel and Joe Paterno. Dave was an All-American tight end. He also played defense. He played in the Liberty Bowl in 1960 and the Gator Bowl in 1961 and 62. Dave integrated the Gator Bowl, the first African-American to play in the Gator Bowl. Now, in the game against Florida, he had numerous catches on offense and recovered a fumble on the punt team and had 2.5 sacks on defense. So guess what? He's the most valuable player in the Gator Bowl. I guess he made a good impression in the Gator Bowl back-to-back years because guess what? He's in the Gator Bowl Hall of Fame. Dave also played in the Hula Bowl, numerous All-Star games, and he played on the college All-Star team that beat the NFL champion Green Bay Packers. Only time it's ever been done, the college team did it. I'm gonna tell you a quick story that me and him talked about over the Christmas holidays. They're sitting there watching the film of that game. Now you can understand, he's playing with Green Bay now. He's watching his Green Bay Packers team play the college All-Stars. Gary Kramer pulls to block Dave Robinson. He wasn't successful at it. He tackles Tom Moore in the backfield. All of a sudden, Vince Lombardi hollers out, "Kramer, what kind of a block is that? That guy's probably not even going to make it in the NFL." What happened was, he didn't wear number 89. He wore number 86. A couple of the defensive coaches knew who he was, and he came over and apologized, "Well, coach didn't know who you were. He didn't know that you're the guy he picked number 1. Okay. Now, Dave was on the all-decade team of the 60s. And in the 60s, in 1969, I believe it was, he was the most valuable player in the Pro Bowl. Playing on guys like Alan Page, Len Barney, Bob Jeter, Deacon Jones, Willie Wood, Dick Butkus. He was an MVP of that game on defense. And back then, in the Pro Bowl, you played for real. Not just two-hand touch the play. Those guys didn't make a lot of money back then. So when they got a chance to make a little extra money, he was going for blood. You know? So he'd like to say he was MVP in that game. Okay. When Dave's days was over in Green Bay, he went into the Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame. And his presenter was Coach Masters. Okay? Coach Masters was overwhelmed with joy that Dave would consider him to do this. The headline in the newspaper wrote, "Dave Robinson does not forget his roots." Okay? Okay. All right, Dave played his final 2 years in Washington. That's where you see a couple of Redskins jerseys over there. And, who said boo? Okay, they made the playoffs the last 2 years he was there, but he finished his career with 27 career interceptions for a linebacker. That's unheard of. And while he was playing at the time, he led all active linebackers with that many interceptions. Okay. Okay, Dave was later elected into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2013. Okay. That was the final piece of the puzzle.
Amen.
Okay, I'm going to recap what we all heard here tonight so far. Second team All-State in football, All-State in basketball, All-State in baseball. And I'm not talking about All-State Insurance Company either. I'm talking about the whole state of New Jersey.
He's not a comedian,
Okay? Okay, all his Hall of Fames. New Jersey Sports Hall of Fame, high school. The Gator Bowl Hall of Fame. The College Football Hall of Fame. The Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame. The NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame. Any more Hall of Fames left? I think there is. He's a Hall of Fame person. And I couldn't be no prouder to have just a Hall of Fame in my family. I thought my mom and dad were the Hall of Fame. Until this guy, the young guy, came around and I found out who he was. Learned a lot from Coach Masters' first morning about him playing football, because of course I was too young. But then when he got to Washington, I used to go to all the games. He used to buy up all the other teams' tickets and we'd go down there. And I'll never forget, it was Christmas Eve, December 24th, 1972. He was playing for the Green Bay Packers against the Washington Redskins in the playoffs. Washington beat them. I felt bad. Long ride home from DC. Me and my Uncle Barney and my dad. And I hated those Redskins. The next year, yes, Dave, this is Coach George Allen, Washington Redskins. Would you be interested in playing for the Redskins? Well, I guess the price had to be right. So I don't know what happened, but they had to trade for him because Green Bay still had the rights to him. The only thing I know is George Allen, another Hall of Fame coach, came and called it. Next thing you know, well, Uncle Dave, well, Vernon Biggs is wearing number 89. Sorry, he'll be wearing 86 when I get there. Okay, so I'm done talking, but what I'd like right now is to have Jeff Masters, Steve Masters, George Masters, and Donnie Masters come forward, please. And John wanted me to present Uncle Dave with this plaque, but I thought it was appropriate that we had the Masters brothers present him with that.
I remember them from back in the day. I remember them when we was young.
George, on crutches. When I played, he would come on the field with his crutches and kick field goals. Yeah, he could.
He could move.
He kick field goals. There was not a lot of people like that.
Masters in the house.
But I remember that.
I'd like to say that before I read this thing, that it's an honor, a humbling privilege to be here and represent my dad.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
And one thing that I learned last summer with some of you is the Brotherhood of Quakers. Billy, you said it earlier, and it doesn't matter what decade you played, you're always a Quaker, and that's pretty cool. Also, Dave, you gave my dad, our dad, the highlight of his career, and for that, I mean, all of you know that he loved everybody. Dave, you were special to him, and we appreciate that. So I'd like to read this. It says, Dave Lefty Robinson, number 88. God, it says 88. I'm kidding, it says 89.
Tell him, Dave, he's not a comedian either.
I'll give it a
Dave, your family, friends, and fellow players would like to commend you for all your accomplishments in your career. As a member of our football team, you led the way to an undefeated championship team. You then took your talent to Penn State and were named an All-American as a member of the Nittany Lions. Your career continued as you became a member of the Green Bay Packers. While at Green Bay, you continued your outstanding play and were selected to numerous Pro Bowls, named All-Pro, and last but not least, 2 Super Bowl victories. The icing on the cake came when you were elected to the Pro Football's Hall of Fame. With everything you've accomplished, you have never forgotten where you came from. We would like to thank you for all that you've achieved and finally recognize you as Morristown's greatest football player. Sincerely, Quaker Nation.
I just told him, I feel like the fifth brother now. Yeah, one thing, all football players have something to start with. And I was just a piece of rare earth with maybe some precious metals in it. And George Masters and the other coaches here at Morristown High School, they shifted up the dirt, got to the gold, and they molded me into a football player. And I went to Penn State, and I remember one thing. Well, the first game Coach Masters came to see, he went to Rip Angle, told Rick, he said, and no, I didn't even tackle. Because when I was playing high school, I just used to grab people. When I got to Rip Angle, I learned you had to hit with your shoulders and take them down, head up, and then of course, when I went to Green Bay, Mr. Marty was a perfectionist. And he told Mr. Marty, said, nobody should make more than 2 yards after contact. And that's only if he's 6 feet tall and he falls down. That's how we played. That's the way we played. We played great. I love it. But you know what? It all comes back to Coach Masters and Keith Constantino and Dick Loring and the rest of the fans, all my high school coaches here. They took a piece of raw material. When I left Morristown High School, I was ready for the world. I was a football player. All I needed to do was be brushed up, cleaned up, and polished up, and go and get an opportunity to do what I could do best, and play football. I love to hit a guy in the left eye. Just to see if the right eye was going to cry. That was it. I love it, and I love all you people. I love it. Come back here and somebody said, finger there. I'm a black finger, but I'm finger.
Real quick, we got a couple things to go, but I think why most of you are standing, Coach Masters was outstanding, but he had a tremendous partner. And his family is here tonight. As much as we honor Coach Masters and Lefty, let's not forget Dick Loring. Everybody knows he was my man. And there was nothing better than you were with him. He would talk to you, and if he was mad at you, he'd say, let me tell you something, son. Then you knew you were in trouble, okay? Right now, I need Leon and Roger Eldridge to please come up.